Hello everyone, my name is Miracle and thank you for watching Century Rock. On today's video, we're making this beautiful peplum top showing on your screen right now, and we're going to do a pattern, draft a pattern and cut it out, and I will show you how to achieve this peplum top. Okay guys, come along and let's begin. The first thing you do is to outline your basic bodice pattern, and this is what you need to do before we start inserting all the relevant lines that we need for our dress. So first you do is you draw out your zipper allowance, which is this. Draw out your zipper allowance, then you insert your horizontal line, then this is our chest line, then bust point line, your hip, your under bust line, your waist, your half length, which is your waist, and your blouse length. Okay, so for this I use 8.5 for my chest line. I use 10 inches for my bust point line, that is your shoulder to your bust point. Then for my under bust I use 14 inches from your shoulder to your under bust. Then your waist, for my waist I use 17 inches, and for the blouse length I use 23 inches. Okay, so this is what you need for your top in order for you to draft out your peplum. The measurement you'll be needing for this peplum top is displayed on the screen right now, and you are going to see everything. For the shoulder I came down by 1 inch. Then for the bust line I use 8.5, divide my bust by 6 plus 1.5. Then my bust point, your shoulder to your bust point, your under bust, shoulder to your under bust. Then for your half length, your shoulder to your waist, so that's your half length. And for the bust line, it's measured to where I want my blouse to stop. The first thing you are going to do is to insert your nipple to nipple measurement, and nipple to nipple is 4 inches. Then you are going to mark it, the 4 inch all through. Then on this bust point you mark 4.5 inches, on the under bust 4 inches, on the waistline half length 4 inches, and on the blouse length 4 inches. When you are done inserting it, you take your ruler and drawing the lines. Because we took 4.5 inches for the bust line, that is why we have a slight curve here. Okay, then this other part we use 4 inches. Come to the armhole. This is your armhole line that you have, and you find the midpoint. So you take the total measurement and you find the midpoint. I have is 9, then you mark 4.5, you mark the 4.5. Can you see it? Take your pattern master and join it to this line. It gives you that slight curve. Then come to the under bust, come in by 2 inches. If you are not on a plus size, I advise you come in by 1.5 inches. So you insert 2 inches from the under bust, the half length, and the blouse length. Come to your bust point and you come down by 1 inch. Then take your curve ruler and give it a curve. After giving it a curve, connect the lines. So we have 2 inches. You come to your bust point and you go up by 1 inch. Then this 2 inch that we have here now, you minus half an inch from it. That half an inch, you are going to insert it on this line that we have here. So take your tape in order for you to know how to get your 0.75. You take your tape. Can you see what I'm doing? You take your tape, you take your marker and you mark it. Then you put it and mark your 0.75 on both sides. then you connect this 0.75 that you have
so the 1 inch above the bust point line.
Because we took 1.5 inch here, you go up on your armhole now, you go up by 1.5 inch, then take your ruler and draw a straight line. In order for us to get this new armhole curve, you insert your bust measurement. My bust measurement is 10.5. 10.5, you mark your 10.5. This 1.5 inches, you insert it because we are changing the new armhole. Then come this way, take it, take your pattern master and connect. I connected it with this, but when we want to cut it out, we are not going to cut it this way, we are going to cut it this way. So you take it and you connect it to this last part. So this is it. Take your ruler, and you connect it. So this is what we are needing. This part is not needed. Okay, so when you want to cut now, you just cut this out. This is what we need. I'm going to label it for you to understand what I'm talking about. When you are done with this now, you come to your waistline. Waist I'm using is 8.5. After dividing it by 4, then I added the 2 inch that we use for this dart. So you take and you insert your 2 inch. And the hip I'm using is 10.75. I divided my hip by 4 and I got 10.75. Then you come and you mark your 10.75 here. Then you insert this 2 inch that we have here, you add it to it. Then connect the lines. You add your sewing allowance. I'm using 1.5 inch for my sewing allowance, 1 inch to sew it, then 1/2 inch for ease. So just insert it and connect the lines. After you've connected the lines, you come to the front, the upper part, insert your neckline. So we'll be using 3 inches and 3.5 inches. Because we'll be using collar for the
Peplum top.
this now, we are going to insert our style before we cut it out.
For the design that we have in front of the peplum top, you come in by 2 inch instead of 1.5 inches. I used 1.5 inch earlier and I found out that it was too big for that design and I decided to increase it to 2 inch. So when making yours, you can decide on how wide or how big you want that front design to be. I decided to reduce mine, so you can do that. Why for the armhole, I left it on 1.5 inches, so you can use 1.5 inch or 2 inch for how wide you want that front part to be.
Okay, so we are cutting this, cut 2. We are done with the front. We mark it as A and mark here as B. Cut 2, then here you cut 2. So we have C. F A, F, F B, and F C. Then this is our waist, waist, waist. This part is no longer needed, so we don't need this part anymore. This part is not needed. It's aside and you do your back. After doing the back, I will show you how to cut it out. For the back, I use 3.5 for the wideness, and for the depth I use 2 inch. Then you take your ruler, your tape. After inserting your neck line, you take your tape and you mark 4 inch your nipple to nipple. So insert your 4 inch and draw a straight line across. You notice on the back that we did not put our under bust measurement. Okay, so when you are done with this, you come in on the last length, you come in by 2 inches. So you mark your 2 inches. Then on this part you come down by 1 inch from your chest line. You come down by 1 inch. On your waist, you insert 0.5 on both sides. So you mark 0.5, 0.5. Connect it to the 2 inch that you came up with. You connect it to the 2 inch you came up with, and you connect it to this line 1 inch that we came down from the chest line. So you mark it. On your armhole, you come up by 1 inch. So you connect it to this 1 inch that we came down. Insert your measurement. We have 10.5. Mark the 10.5, then you add your 1 inch, then you mark your 1.5 inch for sewing allowance, then connect it. Come to your waistline. My waist is 8.5, then the 1 inch for the dart, and the 1.5 inch for sewing allowance. Then for this part, use your hip. The hip I have is 10.75. You mark it and you add your 1.5 inch and connect the lines. B, D, B, E. So we've gotten our back.
Because I wanted the back to have the same pattern and design that the front has, I inserted my 2 inch. Then on the armhole I used 1.5 inch and connected the line. Then I labeled it out. After doing that, you cut out your pattern, but don't forget to label them out. Okay, don't forget to label it out when doing yours, for you to identify the difference between the front and the back pieces also. I use the red marker to make the adjustment, and I use it to label the pattern. For the front, the BD1 you cut on fold, while the BD2 you cut out 2 pieces, while the BE you cut out 2 pieces. When placing it on your fabric, you cut it out. Please guys, remember to notch the relevant lines that you need for the peplum top. Notch it out. Those are our grade lines. Notch it out so that you'll be able to know where to join your pattern.
Before we separate it, we are going to add the peplum effect. So I'm going to cut this out first before I cut out this other part, for us to have that peplum effect. For us to have that flare effect for our top, I'm using this newspaper to cut my art. So you place your pattern on the newspaper and you use your masking tape to tape it so that it can be firm. After taping it, you give that flay effect that we need, that peplum effect.
On the blouse line, you come out by 5 inches on both the left and the right.
Take your tape and you mark 5 inches. Then you come this other part and you mark your 5 inches. Take your ruler and draw a straight line. I gave half an inch for sewing allowance. Then from this waistline, let me connect it so that you'll be able to understand. From this waistline now, you slant it to this line that we have here. So can you see it? Like a triangle. Do the same thing for this other part. Can you see what I did? So this that we did now, you do the same thing for your back piece. Let me do the other part of the front, then you'll be able to do the same thing for your back piece. Cut it out. You take this your pattern master and you give it a slant curve from this point. You can actually just leave it triangle this way if you prefer it that way. So but I want mine to be a bit curvy, so
After achieving the peplum effect, you separate it, okay? Remember, we are supposed to separate the FA1 from the FA2, or the FA and the FB, according to the way you label it. Separate it, cut it out, then you have your two different patterns. This is our front piece.
On this part, there's no need to add anything on this part, but on this part, you add half an inch. Same here, half an inch. Then here on the shoulder, half an inch. On this part, half an inch. So this is the other part of our front, the FC, and you come from this down part now. You come by 5 inches. Remember, we use 5 inch for the F, A, and B. Mark your 5 inch on this part and come to this other part, and you mark your 5 inch. Take your ruler and connect the lines. This is the front part. This way, you are going to connect it like so. Okay, so you connect it all the way down. You drag it to meet this point, this particular point. So what you do is you notch out the relevant part. This point that I'm marking, you notch it out on your fabric. Okay, so this point, this point, this point, and this point. Notch it out. Those are the relevant parts that will be needed to connect the front.
Do the same thing for the back. I found out that the video is so lengthy, so I decided to just make this part as the part 1 of our 6 pieces peplum top. So this is the part 1 and the sewing tutorial is going to be the part 2. Please guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching, and to all our subscribers, I want to say thank you. God bless you. Bye guys.